Better now, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. This is new for me, Alex, to be using Zoom technology. So very excited this morning, very early morning in San Diego. So coming for you from California. So I wanted to start off by introducing myself and by introducing Alex. My name is Tanya Freedman. I am the Chief Operating Officer of Kinetics. And we are a recruitment company. We specialize in the placement of permanent placement of nurses all throughout the US. We work with hospitals and long-term care rehab facilities all over the US. And we've been bringing international nurses to the US for many, many years. I have personally been in recruitment for many, many years. We have, sorry, I'm just getting an instruction from Alex. Alex, am I not looking into the camera correctly? Hello?
Tanya, that's perfect. When you're looking at, perfect. Sounds
is
good.
that better? Okay, all right.
That's
Sorry,
perfect.
this is, okay, everybody excuse the technical issues. This is new for me, so Alex is just giving me an instruction. Okay, so where were we? So this is an introduction about Kinetics. So the reason why we are doing these IELTS support group is Kinetics has started an IELTS support group a few months ago. And the reason why we have done this is that we've been bringing nurses to the US for many, many years. And it is, you know, as you might be able to hear, I'm also an immigrant myself. I came to this country more than almost 20 years ago, and I know personally how hard it is to come to the US. So I'm very passionate about bringing nurses to the US and helping them to make that transition. One of the biggest issues that nurses experience is the English. Of course, to come to the US, you need to pass the English exam, to pass the IELTS exam. We have been looking for a long time to find a partner that will help us to help the nurses to make this transition. Nurses in the US are Schedule A, which means that they are an occupation of short supply. And it is really important for the safety and the care of the patients here in the US that nurses can speak English very well and can obviously pass the IELTS test to even get into the country. As I said, we looked for a long time to find a partner who I think would be a good fit for us and would help us to support our nurses and really got us going the extra mile for our nurses. And SWOOSH is really that partner. Alex will introduce himself and his company. But the reason why we chose SWOOSH is, first of all, they specialize in medical staff. Also, they have most of the people in the company are ex-IELTS examiners, so they know firsthand how to go about doing the IELTS, the IELTS training and what to look for. The other thing is that they are, they are based in the UK, and as most people know, the criteria in the UK are actually higher for the IELTS to get into the UK than it is in the US. In the US, we need a 7 in speaking and a 6.5 overall. You can, in fact, even combine tests. So, IELTS would be, SWOOSH have been extremely successful to get nurses into the UK. And obviously that gives us a lot of hope. And we are very positive that they'll be able to help our nurses to get into the US. So without much more said, over to Alex, who's going to introduce SWOOSH, and then I will be asking him some questions.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for your introduction. And it's great to be collaborating with Tanya and the whole Kinetics team. And we're excited to have a partner like Kinetics who have been placing thousands of nurses for years and years and years, and that is their specialism. So it's great to be working very, very closely with them. We've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. But anyway, today is not about Tanya. It's not about myself and SWOOSH and Kinetics. It's about every single one of you, all the nurses who are out there who are dreaming about working as a nurse in the US. So we want to help you here at SWOOSH to pass the IELTS exam, and then Tanya and her Kinetics team will do the rest. They've got all the dream jobs that you could ever wish for in the US, all over the US, And so we're really looking forward to working with all of you. But yes, today's session is all about you. You'll be glad to hear that we'll be doing these sessions on a regular basis. So we're starting with the first session today, and we'll be telling you more details about the next session next week. And then we've got a huge announcement the week after, which I'll tell you about very, very soon. So yes, we've been working with nurses and doctors for many years now. We've been going for around about 5 years. And since you all need to pass Ielts, you're all struggling with the Ielts. Perhaps some of you have taken the exam 3, 4, 5 times, and it's been over a long period of time, maybe 6 months, it's been a year, etc. We want to help you to pass as quickly and as effectively as possible in the least amount of exam attempts.
And when you talk about Alex, the nurses, all of you taking so long to or can take long to take the exam, it just comes to mind. I've been doing this for a long time, and I always think of one of the nurses that I worked with. She was a nurse from Thailand. She took the Ielts 9 times. 9 times. She was so determined. She was so disciplined. It was really a tough feat for her. And I think that's an example that for a lot of you who are listening, that you can really relate to and feel comfortable with, because, so often the biggest issue with the IELTS is that it's just so scary. It's so scary to have to take that. It's not your first language. We have so many nurses. I have calls every single day from nurses who will say, I'm busy with work. I'm busy with my family. I've got so much on my plate, and it's just so overwhelming to be able to even find the time to practice for IELTS. I don't even know where to begin. And that's why we're so excited about this program with SWOOSH, because I think that it really will be able to give you the tools and the tips to be able to help you on a day-to-day basis. But it is going to take discipline. It is going to take hard work and effort. We're behind you all the way, but I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that, it's not a magic wand. It's not that, we are going to be able to give you these tips and tools, and that's going to just smoothly and easily gonna get you through the exam. It just doesn't work like that. And I always want you to just keep in mind my Thai nurse Boonpit, who took 9 times. There's no shame in taking it a few times as well. So please, keep that in your mind, that nobody really knows or even minds. The IELTS is valid for 2 years, so you can take it as many times as you need to. And sometimes that practice is actually helpful, because it's really about getting your confidence, and that's going to help you to get through this process. So I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask Alex. These, as Alex said, the format for these sessions is we're going to be doing half-hour sessions. I'm going to ask him a series of questions because he has a wealth of knowledge that we can all learn from in terms of the IELTS. And next week we're going to continue with more questions, and then we have a big surprise. So let's get started with the questions, Alex. So,
absolutely.
So the first question is, what is your best advice of how the nurses should prepare for each section of the IELTS exam?
Definitely, Tanya. And just before I answer that question, I just wanted to welcome all of the people who are in today's session. We've got so many people here, Tanya. Papal, Sujatha, Jaja said, yay, finally, as in finally we're doing this session. Because we have been talking about it for a while. Lavares, watching from Saudi Arabia. Lots of people have shared the IELTS live class video. So make sure you share that, because we've got lots of free materials that we want to provide you. And also, I should say, make sure you get yourselves registered with Kinetics, because a lot of the free materials, a lot of the goodies that we've got for you, they're exclusive to nurses who register with Kinetics, so you should absolutely do that. So we've got so many people watching. But yes, in regards to your question, Tanya, I'll start off with the 2 areas. So you've got reading, writing, listening, speaking, the 4 areas, but the 2 areas that really nurses struggle most with are speaking, and can anyone tell me what the other one is? Let me know in the chat box. But anyway, let's start with speaking. So speaking, as Tanya mentioned at the beginning, you need a band score 7 in speaking. And with this area, it's so important that firstly you get a study partner, and inside the Kinetics Facebook group we have the Kinetics team, and Tanya, Joy and Jocelyn, etc. have been matching you all with study partners. So hopefully you've been practicing with each other in your free time when you're not working at the hospital. But speaking with a study partner is very, very important. Of course, the practice is important with that study partner, but you're both nurses, you've both not passed the Ielts exam. So to get that feedback, it's really good to have a teacher as well. Okay, so if you've got access ideally to a native English speaking Ielts teacher, that's really good. If you've got an ex-Ielts examiner, that's even better. But if you can't get access to any of those and you can't afford those kind of things, then a study partner at least is something that you should be aiming for. Someone who can give you, I mean, you know, even if they're a nurse and of course they're not an Ielts teacher, they can still give you some feedback. Maybe they have certain areas that they're good in more than others. Maybe their pronunciation is good, etc. So definitely regular practice for speaking is really important. Someone who can identify your grammatical mistakes. Maybe your answers are really short and they need to be in more depth. Maybe you need to be using that impressive vocabulary in your answers, so they're not just simple sentences. We need to be making complex sentences. I could talk for speaking about for hours and hours, but I'll go on to the next section. Reading is really, really important to get those reading techniques, things like skimming and scanning, those kinds of techniques you need to employ. And it's not just, the big mistake actually I would say is that students are just using past Ielts papers. They're not using text that they can get from newspapers, from magazines, from maybe TED Talk transcripts. All these kinds of things would really boost your skills in reading, to be able to practice those techniques. And then once you're practicing those techniques, newspapers, magazines, website pages, etc., then you, of course, you can combine that with practice examination papers from the past. So really important. Again, similar kind of thing with listening. Let's see what people are coming back with. They're also, some people are saying, okay, Lavares got the right answer. I'll mention what that is soon. Papau got the right answer. Cathar J got the right answer as well. But yes, listening techniques, similar kind of thing. Don't just rely on the past papers, you know, the past audio recordings that you're listening to. It's really important to use YouTube as your friend. Okay, YouTube's definitely your friend. Lots of other websites that I can refer to you as well, aside from doing a long list right now. And then the other one, I mean, again, actually one really, really good tip that for you that would be completely free, okay, to practice your speaking and listening, is to go onto Google and type in language exchange. Language exchange is amazing for you. For example, if you might be a Filipino nurse, and of course your native language is Tagalog. So what you could do is perhaps you might find someone from America or the UK wants to move to the Philippines and they want to learn Tagalog as well. 50% of the time you can practice Tagalog with them and help them, and 50% of the time they can help you with your English, and you can ask them to point out your grammatical mistakes. So you're combining the two areas, speaking and listening. So speaking, as we said before, is you're going to need to get a band score 7. So that's a high level, and it's definitely achievable if you get that practice in every single day. Really, really important. And then the one I said before, the two biggest difficulties that you need to really work on: speaking, and all these nurses got it correct, writing. Writing is absolutely so important that you get the practice, but again, at the same time, you get feedback. So inside our Facebook group, we've got lots of nurses who are helping each other. As I said before, we're matching them with study partners. So it's really important you get feedback to tell you where you're going wrong, and and how you can make those adjustments, those modifications to make the big improvements that in order for you to get a 6.5 overall. And like I said before, you need to get that 7 in speaking. I could speak for a long time about this, Tanya, but I'm just aware of time, and I know you've got other questions as well. And also feel free, everyone in the session right now, please put your questions in there. We would love to answer as many of them as possible. As I said, this is not Tanya and my session, it's your session, and we're here for you, and we're here to provide with as much free tips as possible. And as I say that about free tips, definitely share the Ielts live class today to your Facebook page. We want to spread the message about how kinetics and swoosh can help you to fulfill your ambitions as a nurse. So share that step 1 to your page. Just click the share button, and then step 2, all you need to do is right underneath the video, I have shared the Ielts live class video, okay, and then you will magically get the Ielts welcome pack to your Facebook Messenger. Tanya, that was a long-winded one, but hopefully that was worthwhile.
Yeah, no, that was really interesting, Alex, and a lot of very valuable information and tips and pointers. I think the one message that kind of came clear to me while you were talking is really the study partners. Because, you know, I was just thinking of how many times, you know, it kind of relates to like when you want to go to, when you know you need to get fit and you want to go to the gym. And you know that if you're going to do it on your own, it's much more difficult. But if you have a study, or if you have somebody who you are going to be going to the gym with every day, you know, some days you wake up and you think, well, ugh, not today. I'm so busy. I'm tired. I've got the kids. I've got to make dinner. I've got to, you know, I've just finished work. I'm exhausted, and tomorrow's another day. But if you know that you've got your study partner who's waiting for you to come and practice and to work on your listening, and to work on your writing, and to work on your speaking, then it keeps you accountable. So I think that's a really important tip, and a very clear message that you are, you know, bringing across, as well as a lot of other important information. But that accountability is really coming across as a key issue. Because, you know, that really is an important tip, to be able to keep you practicing daily. Because as I said before, the one thing that I'm learning about the Ielts from you, Alex, and all your experience, is that it's not a magic wand. It's not a quick fix. It's not like you can say, you know, you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work. Okay.
Absolutely.
So that brings me to so that brings me to my next question. What are the biggest mistakes that nurses make when they're trying to reach a target band score?
Well, you kind of touched on it a little bit, Tanya, with the nurse that you told me about before, the Thailand nurse who'd taken the exam 9 times. Now, I mean, well done to that nurse who took it 9 times and passed. However, I just want to put a message to everyone who's watching. We've got around about 60 people watching right now, which is fantastic. It doesn't need to be as hard as that. It really doesn't. And, you know, if you've got a strategic plan in place, in order to go through the preparation, in order to take the exam, it'll just give you such huge results. It will allow you, as I said at the beginning, to pass quickly, effectively, and in the least amount of exam attempts possible. So it's so important, I'll say that again, as quickly and as effectively in the least as possible in the least amount of exam attempts. I mean, I had a doctor from Japan who'd taken the exam 16 times, and he did it by himself. 16. Wow. Dr.
That
Kenji.
Is dedication.
Yeah, dedication. And he just did it again and again and again by himself. He came to SWOOSH, and he only had 2 weeks before his exam. And I would love to say that we helped him on the 17th attempt. However, he didn't give us enough time to help him. So he failed on his 17th attempt, but he'd made improvements from the previous ones. And then we said to him, do not book the next exam until we tell you that you're ready. And I think that's the real key message to send out to nurses who are watching this right now, that it's better to have some expert who's helping you, an Ielts teacher, an examiner, to tell you, based on looking at your work, you know, for all 4 areas, okay, you're consistently at that band 7, band 6.5 level, and you're getting it again and again and again. I'm now confident that you're ready to go ahead and book your exam. So that's what I would say. And I should say that we helped him pass on his 18th attempt, which I mean is amazing. But yes, it should not require so many attempts, you know. And the huge mistake is booking the exam when the nurse is not ready. And the thing is, they are deciding that they're ready for the exam when they are not the best. Sometimes, I say in most cases, if the nurses are studying by themselves, they are not actually the best people to decide when they're ready. It's so much better to have a teacher to tell you, someone who's got proven experience of helping to get through. Okay, now I think you're ready to go ahead and book it, because it's expensive. If you're a Filipino nurse and you're making $100 to $150 per month, of course, there's a huge difference between what you're making in the Philippines salary wise and what you're making in the US. So it could be 10, 15, 20 times more that they make in the US. But the exam cost is, it's significant, and it could be more than a month's salary for a nurse. So that's why we have your best interests at heart here at Kinetics and SWOOSH. We don't want you to book the exam, take it 9 times, and maybe you pass, maybe you don't. But if it's costing you $1,400 or so, $1,500, we'd rather you not spend that kind of money, because you've got other costs as well, NCLEX and all these other fancy things that you've got to go through in order to become a nurse. So that's one of the bit. I mean, again, I could go. I'm just aware of time, but I could go through so many mistakes. Yeah, the booking the exam. What else? Not doing it all by yourself. Not having a study partner. Not having someone who's identifying your mistakes, as I mentioned previously. Because then you can see the level of progression. You can see yourself going up and up and up. Otherwise, if you're doing it by yourself, it can become a real frustrating, hard slog, as we say in the UK. It could be a just draining journey where you're trying to climb a mountain without any kind of support equipment, no mountaineering boots, no navigation of where you're going. I don't know where that analogy came from, but it just came to me in the moment. But it is true. If you don't have a guide, if you don't have the equipment, the tools, then it's going to be difficult for you. And speaking about tools, we want to give you, along with all the free advice Tanya and I are giving you today, if you share I keep saying OET, share the Ielts live class video today to your Facebook page, and then right underneath, I have shared the Ielts live class video. We'll give all the Kinetics nurses who've attended today the Ielts free welcome pack with lots of goodies in there, video lessons, ebooks, etc.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. That was really, really important. And it's funny that you talk about the climbing a mountain analogy, because the analogy that I always use with all the nurses over all the years that we've been working on is, how do you climb a mountain one step at a time? So
really, wow. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So
there you go.
And yeah, exactly. And it's really true. It is one step at a time. And I think, in just listening to you speak about some of the common mistakes, I think that the thing that also comes through to me is, yes, there's kind of the technical piece of it, where your nurses need to make sure that they are ready for the exam. But with that technical piece comes the confidence, because once you have somebody telling you you're ready, you feel ready. It changes the way your brain works. It takes away some of that anxiety and the some of the fear that is built up in taking the actual exam. So it's kind of a two-part process. It's the actual skills, but also the confidence to be able to perform on the test day.
Absolutely, confidence. I'm so glad you pointed that out, because you hear about I speak to nurses after they've taken their Ielts exam, and you get kind of, the nurses go into two groups. You get the nurses who I say to them, how did you feel on test day, before test day, etc. And they just feel, they said that, they kind of had this really low energy about them. Their body language was kind of slumped like this, and they've used words like scared, terrified, etc. And then when they get the results, it kind of reflected in their results. Maybe they didn't prepare enough. They didn't have a teacher. They didn't have a study partner. And it's so sad when you hear these stories, because they've invested so much money and time in all of this. But then on the other side, you've got nurses who have prepared effectively. They've had someone to tell them when they're ready to book their exam. They've worked with a teacher solidly. And as Tanya said, a tried and tested teacher, proven teacher who's helped other students to pass, has told you you're consistently getting those 6.5s and 7s, you're now ready. What do? You don't have a slumped style of body language. You have, this really straight back body language. You're walking in there with a smile on your face. you almost know you're going to pass before you walk into the exam room. And it's like what they say about my boxing analogy, because I follow boxing, is and if there's any Manny Pacquiao fans from the Philippines, let me know in the chat box. But a lot of boxers either win or fail or lose before they even get into the ring. Okay, you've got to have that winning mindset, and that's what we want to promote as part of the collaboration with Kinetics. And make sure you absolutely join that Facebook group, because it's a booming and lively and active group right now. So absolutely make sure you do that. We'll post a link into that Facebook group very, very soon. I've got some comments coming up here as well. Tanya on Facebook Live. Lavares said, I agree. Make sure you are ready before taking the exam. Aim high, everyone. Absolutely, Lavares. Lots of people sharing the video as well. Jaja said, it's true about the Ielts. It's very expensive. Much better to wait and practice and study until we're ready. So we've got lots of people who are agreeing with what we say, Tanya.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that was really valuable information. And it kind of brings to mind like an athlete. You know how, like, if you're an athlete training for the Olympics, you've got to, and you're a gymnast, you've got to have those skills to be able to do the turns and the jumps and the leaps. But it's also the mental practice. And as you say, to walk in, to know that you're going to win, and know that how do you climb that mountain one step at a time. Or the analogies are flowing this morning, Alex.
Absolutely.
But I think, everything that you say is so true and really valuable and important, because, it's a combination of factors that are going to help get you to the ultimate goal of passing the exam.
Absolutely. I've got a question here, and I think with your kind of winning mindset, Tanya, this might be a good one for you. How do you not lose confidence on test day? Because I'm worried about anxiety getting me on test day. What's your advice for test takers on the day of the exam, so you don't get lost? Perhaps you can give your thoughts, and I'll give you my thoughts as well.
Well, I think sometimes the biggest thing on test day is not to overthink it. Because I think what happens is that your mind starts to go, you have so much anxiety. It's just to try, and I know it's hard, but to try and just block it out. Because you've got to just think to yourself, I've done the work. I have my IELTS teacher that's told me I'm ready. Is maybe to take some quiet time, maybe do a meditation, listen to some music that is calming, just spend some quiet time, and just know that, just keep telling yourself, I can do this. Because I think what happens is that if you allow your mind to go there too much on that test day, it's going to be the anxiety. I mean, you look at research that's done on the brain, and just your brain gets clouded because there's just too much internal chatter.
Absolutely. And the really good points. I'm so glad you talked about meditation. I do meditation every morning. I used to do 10 minutes a day, and I'm doing 40 minutes. I'm doing 40 minutes right now.
Wow, that's impressive.
Really, I have to get up really early. It's life-changing, absolutely. And advice for nurses is absolutely the meditation, like Tanya talked about, the negative self kind of chatter, the negative self-talk, because we say such bad things to ourselves that we would never dare say to anyone else. So why do we beat ourselves up? So on the, when Tanya is talking about anxiety, etc., some of the things that can make it worse are, for example, not having enough sleep. Some people are trying to cram as much information in as possible the day before their exam. Why are they doing that? Because they are perhaps guilty or scared about the fact they've not prepared properly. Maybe they just kept procrastinating. They knew that their exam was coming up 2 months later, 1 month later, 3 weeks later, 5 days later. Oh no, I've only got a few days left. So they cram. And then they don't have enough sleep, and then anxiety gets worse. Then they're drinking so much caffeinated drinks and energy drinks, and then your brain is going at 100 miles an hour, and you're not able to think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it goes. But I think, Alex, it goes back to what you said initially, is that, if you're doing the work with a study partner, practicing on a day-to-day basis, and if you have a teacher that gives you the the clear answer that you're ready, then you have to believe that and know that you're ready and have the confidence in yourself at that point.
Absolutely. And I'll go back to what you said before, Tanya, about accountability. It's such a fantastic word, methodology, principle to really take into account. Accountability is huge. Okay, I learn Spanish every day, and I have to send the work that I've done to 2 accountability partners. And if I've not sent it to them, they're asking me, Alex, why have you not done your Spanish for today? You owe me this, this, and this. I need it now. And you could do the same thing with yourselves, is get that study partner, get them on WhatsApp or whichever form of communication you have them on, Facebook Messenger, and tell them what you've done each and every day. And I was going to say, excuse my French, but kick their ass every single day, okay? Because it's so important. You've got people motivating you every step of the way. Maybe one day you're feeling extremely motivated and you can push your partner, and then another day you might not feel so motivated and you need them to push you. So you're constantly helping each other every step of the way. But study partners on their own is not the best strategy, because if you're making mistakes in your grammar, your fluency, your pronunciation, you're not giving detailed answers, etc., you're answering the question types in Ielts writing task 2 in an incorrect way, etc., and your study partner can't point those mistakes out, then you're repeating mistakes again and again and again. So you're developing those bad habits, and they're ingrained more so in your brain. So definitely get a teacher to help you. And if you are watching right now and you've taken the exam a few times and you've just done self-study, I would advise you to keep your money before you start booking more exams and invest in a teacher, because in the long run you will actually save money, you'll save time, and you'll save frustration and negative energy, not fulfilling your dreams, because Tanya and her team are waiting for you to pass this exam, to move on to the next stage. She's got, so many hospitals and that are waiting for you to start working with them. So there's a shortage in the US, and we want you to, we know that the end goal is not to pass the IELTS exam. The end goal is for you to be working as a nurse in the US, fulfilling your ambitions. You've been waiting for years in order to do this for you and your family. So yeah, that's really, really important.
Yeah. Definitely. Alex, I travel nonstop around the country, seeing hospitals, and many of the hospitals, as we know, there's a nursing shortage in the US. And many of the hospitals, of course, are continuing their recruitment of American nurses, but there are lots of hospitals that are just, I was sitting with a CNO last week, and she said to me, we just have hit, we've hit a wall. In terms of recruitment, and we just don't have enough nurses. So we have a lot of opportunities. And as Alex said, it's just, you've got to get through the step. It's not just a matter of getting through the steps so that you can pass the exam. It's also so that you'll be able to cope in the US. And that's a very important piece, because you're going to be working with doctors that speak English and patients that speak English and other colleagues, other nurses that speak English. And it's really important for the safety of your patients that you're able to communicate. So, I think it's, yes, Alex is so right. It's not just that end goal of passing the exam, but it's also for your future and how you're going to cope and operate going forward when you make your American dreams come true. And I'm just looking at the time, Alex. I can't believe we're out of time, and I've got so many more questions for you.
Oh no! Yeah, we've even actually gone over the time because we want to help nurses as much as possible. But would anyone like us to do these kinds of sessions more regularly? Would you like another one of these sessions next week if Tanya and I can come together and help you all? Let me know in the Facebook live chat. We actually had some very nice comments, Tanya, coming from. We've had Jaja said, thank you, Miss Tanya and Alex, for sharing your thoughts. Yes, you are right, Tanya. We need to communicate very well. Lots of people sharing the IELTS live class video. Liam says, I'm looking for a teacher for speaking and writing. Any recommendation? Should I have 3 times per week? I mean, I'll go. I know I could end up speaking about that for a long time, but I know that time is short. If you are really on that path, and what I say, if I know you're all on that path to becoming a nurse in the US, make sure you join our Kinetics and Swoosh Ielts support group. We'll put the link in the chat box for you. Please let me know. Say yes in the chat box if you want to come along and join that group. We've got nearly 1,000 people in there. We've only had it up for, you know, around about 6 weeks or so. So it's very active as well. So you'll be joining a very strong community where there's lots of accountability is the big word that we've talked about today. But yes, if you want us to do more of these sessions, let me know. Chu Mary says, thank you both, such a great help. Yes, I need more sessions, said Jathes. Liesl, yes, 3 exclamation marks. I think that's a pretty strong decision, choice of hers, that she wants more of these. Yes, please, very big yes, said Jaja. Fantastic. So yes, we will do another one of these sessions next week. Please wait for us to give you more details about the dates and times, etc., in the day. And yes, we look forward to providing that session for you. So Tanya, any closing thoughts before we wrap up for today?
Well, thank you, Alex, for your time. I know how busy you are, so I really appreciate that, and I know everybody on the call appreciates that. One thing just to mention, if you are going to be joining the IELTS support group that Kinetics and Swoosh have put together, please make sure to introduce yourselves. So I think it's really important, just as a starting point, because this is a community. This, as Alex said, this is not about Kinetics. This is not about Swoosh. We really are just trying to go the extra mile to help you, because we know that this is a difficult task to accomplish. But we really want this to be a community about you. So the first step when you're going to meet somebody new, you're going to be moving into a new community, is to introduce yourself. And you'll see that Jocelyn, who is our administrator, will be posting questions when you join, asking who you are, and why you want to go to the US, what is your most difficult piece about passing the IELTS. So please, please, please introduce yourselves. We've had some brave nurses who have been introducing themselves by video. Please don't be shy. I know that it can be difficult sometimes to step into the hot seat and put a video of yourself, but please, if you can do that, if you don't feel comfortable, just at least post. But it's really important that we get the communication going, because this is a community, and community is about supporting each other.
Absolutely, Tanya, and the confidence will help a lot by posting videos. So like I said before, make sure you share the IELTS live class video. Today we'll give you the IELTS welcome pack, completely free, lots of helpful video lessons for you. But aside from that, Tanya, I think that's it, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Alex. Everybody have a great weekend. Let's keep up the practicing. And how do we climb the mountain? One step at a time.
Absolutely, Tanya. Thank you very much, and all the best, everybody. Good luck with your IELTS preparations, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.